Hi, this is Joe. I run LaxPlayBook with my friend Gary Pottenbaum, also known as Coach P. We actually did a video 10 years ago, and our lives have changed a lot since then. And you guys can look it up. I'll send videos. Gary and I actually did some videos for Boys Lacrosse 10 years ago, and we're in contact now because I want to help people understand the girls' game. And today we're going to talk about shooting space. So if any of you guys who coach guys lacrosse want to jump over to the girls' arena, excuse me. One of the things you got to understand is shooting space. And Gary, one of the big life changes you had since we spoke 10 years ago is you became much more involved in the girls' game. So you're a great person to speak to this idea of guys who come over from the guys' game, get a little confused because the shooting space concept is a big one. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I think, yeah, that was one of the biggest things. It's kind of like this enigmatic, you know, this entity on the field, like shooting space. It's super subjective, but it's not. And if you understand how to not get into shooting space, you can really understand how to get another team into shooting space, and you can use it as an advantage to get 8 meter shots.
Can we
So
start
that
with the definition of the rule, like showing me anything just so we
Yeah, sure.
understand?
So shooting space is essentially like I'm going to draw this like little triangle here, right? And so if you see like it kind of it shoots off, and so somebody here is the ball carrier, right? And I'm going to do a really bad. This is how I would do it on the board in the classroom, but there's the stick and the ball, right? And so the ball carrier is there. If you aren't within a stick's length of this ball carrier or a stick's length of somebody you're defending in that space, you're in shooting space. So if you're the O right here, then you're in shooting space. And that's a dangerous situation for a defender. And so um, that's why the call would be against the defender. This player here, the person with the ball, isn't going to try to shoot through. If they do, they can get a penalty, but that's another video for another day. Um, but we want to we want to look at this triangle. And so I'm going to see how I can undo the annotations because I'm not great at this part of the technology. But let's see if I can go. No, hang on, more. No. All right. Well, anyway, so there's that triangle. That's that magic triangle, and that triangle can move as as we move through the through the area. So if a player is over
And this is
here,
important because for so many of us coach guys lacrosse, we run two men in the crease, picks in the crease. A lot of our strategy involves people in the crease. And this is where a lot of guys get thrown off as they work with a girls' team. So it's super important people
boom.
understand that things like a double mumbo pop or two guys in the middle popping out may not work so well in the girls' game.
Well, I think it depends again upon like your intent. So the penalty is against the defender. The offensive player is awarded by having a shot on the center hash. So if I draw the different hashes out here, they could be awarded a shot at the center hash, the second hash, the first hash, or the hanging hash, depending upon where their positioning is, right, on the field. So they could
Okay.
be awarded a shot at any of those hashes, right? And so it can be advantageous to have some people camp out here and then have them bail out fast and get a girl hung up. So I think it really just depends on your strategy, your just like anything, strategy, skill set, composition of team, etc. So as we kind of move along, that shooting space can happen just about anywhere when you're in the eight, Joe. So this would be an example of that triangle, right? And then anybody that's in there that's not a stick's length away from somebody they're defending, or somebody that has the ball. And so again, it's just like um, this mystery. I think the other part that's really important is you know when um, when a player is attacking the eight, you can get somebody in shooting space from the 12 and in. So this is called in the ladies game, you'll hear it called the CSA, or the critical scoring area. And so once a player penetrates this line and they have their hands up, um, and it's clear that they have an opportunity to shoot, somebody that's inside the eight can be penalized for that. And so
So what's
Coaches,
a
how do you,
defender supposed to do? So a girl's coming down, like tearing down the field, full go. She enters that CSA, and I'm just trying to play defense. I have to like get out of the way, or what?
you get out of the 8.
So you have
So
essentially
let's
have to
pretend
let the
that,
player just have a go to the goal.
yeah, not exactly. Not exactly. So here's let me give you two scenarios and then we'll talk it out. So scenario one, um, the player's here, right? My drawing is always excellent. So just so you know. So the player's here. As long as the gal that's defending her is above the 8, she's safe, right? The second she steps in the 8, she's no longer safe. All right. Take that bad O away. All right. So another thing she could do is if she knows that this girl's having at the goal, she's going to meet her and take her away, right? Just like we would teach playing defense with your feet in the guys game. Another option is this. Let's say that
Just real quick
our
on that
defender's
one.
hanging out
So
here.
if the girl thinks the girl she's playing is just a horrible shooter and she wants to slough off, she can't really slough off like and basically like challenge that girl to take the shot because she believes she's a horrible shooter. Because even if that girl's a terrible shooter, if she launches it in the direction of the goal, even if it's like the biggest lame
Right.
shot possible, so she essentially is forced to pressure that girl. Like she has to
If
step
she's above
up.
the 8, yeah. I mean,
Like
she's
she
I,
can't, you know what I mean by
I would.
slough off. She can't just slough off and be like, "Go ahead, take the shot." Because if she sloughs off, she's in that area.
So I think about fast break defense in the guys game, right? Fast break defense is to just slow the ball down and not let them get a look, right? And so I would think we're going to toe our line on the 8 right here where you see the pencil kind of bopping around. We're going to toe the line on the 8 and direct her. Make the ball move one more or whatever. Not many girls that shoot from the 8 are scoring in the ladies game.
Yeah.
Just the technology of sticks and whatnot doesn't really allow for there's a handful of girls out there that put the ball in the mid 70s to low 80s in the high school levels where they can really uncork one. But for the most part, girls aren't shooting from the 8. So the example I have drawn up here would be here's your defender, right? And so as this player is moving this direction, we'll say she goes to here, this triangle shrinks, right? Because it's always the vertex of the triangle is the ball carrier, right? So
Okay.
as this player is moving this way, so this player we would do, so she's kind of like pretend her foot's in here, she's in shooting space. We're going to tell her to banana toward that player. So she's taken herself out of that. Now that's done two things in this case. Um, it's kind of like taking topside away from a player. So we'll pretend she's a righty and she's going to continue down that alley. To use guys' terms. But we're going to take topside away. We're going to banana there. If we got caught on this side, we're going to have to take her topside, or we're going to have to just eat it and take the shooting space call, right? Which is not always optimal depending on the shooter. So like our approach is really important. Once we get, really about here, we'll say that's where we can hop in and we're a stick's length away, right? And so once we hop in, put our stick out in the high school game, especially in the upper levels of the high school game, as the players are more talented, they kind of give you that stick's length of extending your arm with the stick, or at least some gray in there, where really the definition at the high school game is like a stick's length. So like belly button to belly button on players, um, somewhere between 36 and 42 inches. That's like the tolerance of women's sticks. Um, and so really the advantages are, I don't know, if this young lady's here, right? If she's hanging out around here and we get shooting space, she's getting awarded first hash or hanging hash. In that case, those aren't really dangerous places for somebody to take a shot, especially if it's a righty, because they're going to come in no angle. We can cut it off from the other side, and we may take a shooting space call instead of uh, letting her just kind of go down Main Street, to use your term. All right. So then if she's kind of in this ballpark here where she's center hash or second hash, um, and she's in that ballpark, and here's the ball. And our defenders here, as she's catching the ball, we want our defender clearing out and coming back. And so
It
that's
sounds like
how
a
we'll,
nightmare for the referee.
it's really tough to adjudicate. It is. There's a handful of officials that do it really, really well. There's a handful of officials um, that aren't as experienced with the game, and I think that transcends all sports, right? That we don't have enough officials that have officiating experience or game experience while they officiate. So it's tough. And so I would say that 9 out of 10 times the official um, is going to err on the side of caution because it's a safety foul, and they're going to blow the whistle. And there's there I mean, like, we could do a whole half an hour sidebar on what shooting space looks like and whatnot, but essentially it's this magic triangle, and it's the crease, or the goal circle is how they're going to refer to it in the ladies game. But there's your shooting space here, right? um Gee whiz. Oh, wow. Here's your shooting space here, right? And it's these tangent lines. I drew this one poorly, but you got the idea. It's these tangent lines. Sometimes the officials are adjudicating it that way, but it's these tangent lines to the outside of the crease that create a triangle to the ball carrier. Stay out of it at your peril. Put them on the line otherwise. And so, if you've got a good 8 meter player, like we had a young lady that was like 77% this year from 8 meter, which is awesome, right? And so if you've got a good 8 meter player, it's like you're giving them a goal. Um, Other thing that's important to know, a lot of these dads that might be jumping into the coaching the high school or even junior high and below, they'll watch college and they'll watch whistle for shooting space, but the goal's allowed, right? Um, well, and at the high school game, if shooting the space is called, the goal isn't a goal. That player was in a danger, and they don't want to give. I think it's coming, but they don't want to give the referees that discernment yet. Going back on that previous comment, like, we just don't have a deep talent pool of excellent officials. At least I would think everywhere outside of the hotbeds, um, where they're going to be able to discern, was it a bang bang play? Was the play, all these things to keep the girls safe because we're not padded up, right? And so, um, at the college level, if it's a bang bang play, they're going to give the girl a goal. At the high school level, you can score a goal and you just hear the fans, oh, and then back we go to the 8 and we redo it, and it's no goal. My girls are really athletic and they're really aggressive. They're not particularly what we would say a high skilled team, but we're a bunch of tryhards. And so we probably get more goals taken away than we get awarded because of that, is what it is. But that's it.